What are you laughing at?
I added your Polaroid to my notebook.
I don't look good in that photo, though.
No, look. It's like you're preserved here in my notes forever. Isn't that cool?
I guess that's a nice thought.
Right? I hope we can look back on the summer and the years to come and reminisce over the good old days. I hope we stay friends forever.
Your friend has been missing for over a week now. The local police weren't getting anywhere with their search. It's a small town, and missing people cases like this are rare and far between. You guessed that the lack of progress made in their investigations was due to the fact that they were ill-equipped to handle something like this. Or maybe they're just incompetent. So, you decided to take matters into your own hands. You've had your suspicions. In fact, you'd been suspicious about him for a while. It wasn't based on anything concrete. He's well liked in the community, seems to be a normal guy. It was just an uncomfortable gut feeling. And so, you find yourself standing outside a small house on the outskirts of town. You look down into your notebook. The plan was to enter his home under the guise of an official investigation. You'd have to impersonate a detective, which might get you into trouble if discovered, but if all goes well, you'll be able to collect the evidence you need to find out what happened to your friend. Or maybe you were wrong. Maybe he's innocent and you're just blowing things out of proportion all because of a gut feeling. You look back up at the house. It's a simple one-story building. It looks quite homely. There are plants and other trinkets decorating the patio, and the lawn's neatly kept. You feel a small pang of guilt for intruding on such a peaceful-looking home, but that feeling slowly morphs into a sensation of fear. There's a chill running down your spine as you approach the front door. You stand outside, shifting from one foot to the other. This is it. Should you continue? It's not too late to back out now. You bit your lip nervously. This was a bad idea. There are so many things that could go wrong. For all you'd know, he could be completely innocent. You'd be accusing him of a crime he didn't do and trespassing into his private property. On top of that, you'd definitely get into some legal trouble if you were found impersonating an authority figure. Head hanging low, you step back from the door. For a moment, your friend's smiling face flashes in your head. You take one last look at the house, and then you leave. You were nervous, yes, but you were also determined to seek out any clues that might help you find your friend. You quickly smooth out the creases in your dress, making yourself look presentable. With renewed resolve, you knock on the door. There's a small shuffling noise coming from within.
One moment.
You hear footsteps approaching. The door creaks open, and a friendly face steps in front to greet you. You've seen him around town a few times, but his strikingly unusual appearance always seems to surprise you.
Can I help you?
His sudden question knocked you out of your stupor.
Yes.
You pull out a fake badge with a fake identity from your pocket.
I'm Detective Quinn with the Border Springs Police Department. You're Crow, correct?
Crow glances at your hastily made badge. For a moment, you're worried he's caught on to you, but then he gives you an affirmative smile.
That's me.
I'm just here to ask you a few questions in pertinence to an ongoing missing persons investigation. Do you mind if I come in?
Perfect. Just as you rehearsed. He eyes you for a moment.
A missing persons investigation?
You nod. Your palms are beginning to feel sweaty from all the nerves. He stares at you thoughtfully for a moment. Then, he smiles again.
Sure thing, Detective. Come on in.
Crow motions for you to enter, and you eagerly do so. As you step inside, he closes the door behind you. Before you can have any time for yourself to look around the place, you're quickly ushered towards the guest area.
Sorry for my appearance, Detective. I just gotten home from work, so I haven't gotten a change yet.
He motions toward his outfit, the standard uniform issued to crew members of the local train station.
I'll brew up some tea for you. Do you have any preferences?
No, anything is fine. Thanks, though.
All right. I'll be back momentarily. Make yourself comfortable.
You take a seat down at the table, eyes trailing after Crow as he leaves the room. This could be a good opportunity to look around. Eager to take advantage of his absence, you quickly leave your seat and head towards the hallway. It's a surprisingly long hallway. The place definitely looks smaller from the outside. The lights are all off, save for a yellow glow coming from the last room in the hall. You nervously turn the doorknob of said room and peek inside. It's a walk-in closet. Rows of clothing are neatly hung on the closet rod. Everything's meticulously arranged by color: blue, white, black. You walk deeper into the wardrobe room, a little surprised that people actually have rooms of this size dedicated to clothing alone. And that's when you notice it. Inconspicuously placed on a table full of gloves, a blood-stained pair lay out in the open. You shakily step closer to get a better look, reaching out to pick up the piece of evidence you needed.
I came to grab a new pair of gloves, but I didn't expect you to have beat me to it.
You nearly jump out of your skin at the sudden noise. Sheepishly, you turn to face Crow, who is leaning against the doorway. Upon your repositioning, he notices the specific article of clothing you're trying to grab.
Ah, that. I was field dressing a rabbit the other day. And don't worry, I've got a license.
It was understandable. Many residents of Border Springs participated in hunting of wild game during this season. But despite that, you still felt chills going down your spine.
Now, I am a little uncomfortable with a young lady such as yourself going through my clothes. How about we call it a day here? I do have some matters to attend to.
You nod meekly, embarrassed that he'd caught you at such a bad time, and you were swiftly escorted out of his home. You decided to play it safe and wait for a while reviewing old notes. You pull out your notebook and pen from inside your pockets and flip through the pages. Ah, there he was, Crow. You couldn't find much information on him. You weren't even able to find his last name. He has virtually no social media presence, nor any close friends who do. He seems to be the easygoing type, but keeps to himself most of the time. You rub at your eyes in frustration. You spent the last week tailing him in secret, but that's the extent of what you'd found. He lives such a painfully normal and boring life that you almost felt bad for the guy. But, despite all that, your instincts were telling you that he was dangerous, and that's why you're here now. Your train of thought is broken as you hear the sound of running water going off in the kitchen. Unable to muster up the courage to leave your seat, you stay put in your spot, fingers nervously tapping the edge of the table. The whistling of the kettle goes off in the kitchen, and you can hear the clatter of cups and utensils as Crow prepares the tea. After a few more minutes, he returns with the silver tray in hand. He gently sets down a piping hot cup in front of you. Sugar?
I'll pass.
He sits down across from you. He doesn't touch his tea.
So, what did you come to me for?
You try to keep up your facade as a detective, asking him questions about his relationships, his personal life, his schedule, and alibi. Of course, you weren't able to pick up on any inconsistencies, and your line of questioning was inefficient and lacked substance. This back and forth goes on for about half an hour before you decide to finally cut your losses and leave. You rise from your seat, tucking away your notebook and pen back into your pocket.
Will that be all, Detective Quinn?
You sigh and give him a small nod, making your way towards the front door. Crow trails behind you, seeing you out. There's a feeling of defeat from not having gotten anything worthwhile out of this whole encounter, but you thank him for his time anyway.
Glad to have been of help, Detective.
You give a half-hearted nod as you walk across his front lawn.
If you ever need more assistance with that investigation of yours, do feel free to come by for tea again sometime. Petunia Floors.
You stumble mid-step. You never told him your real name. You turn back to face him, but he was already gone.
Are
you serious? Buckets of sweat are dripping down your face. Crow seemed a little uncomfortable at your sudden weird behavior.
I came today to, ask
Crow raises an eyebrow.
you on a date?
There's a long silence between the two of you.
Get out of my house.
Yes, sir.
Now that it sounded like he was preoccupied with whatever was going on in the kitchen, you decided to take this time to explore the rest of the house. You quietly left your seat, scurrying over to a dark hallway. The lights are off, so you had quite a bit of trouble navigating from room to room. One by one down the hall, you peeked into each room. A restroom, a storage room, a bedroom, and finally, a closet. You sigh, rubbing tiredly at your eyes. It was difficult to see anything in these conditions. As you're about to leave the closet, you slip briefly on a rug.
Shoot!
You quickly move to readjust the displaced floor covering, but notice something peculiar as you do. A trapdoor, hidden underneath. You feel your heartbeat quicken. Cautiously, you lift up the heavy door and peer inside. Complete darkness. You take a step down, and then another, until you reach the end. By now, your eyes have adjusted to the dim setting. There's a strange smell down here. You cover your mouth to mask the odor, but it permeates through the air regardless. And then, you see it. A wall strewn with pictures of them. Your missing friend. Red ink is scribbled all over every photograph, proclamations of love towards them, and threats of violence towards anyone who dared interfere. You back up a little at the sight. You froze. That wasn't you. It came from behind.
Now you've gone and done it. I was going to let you go, you know. Detective Quinn. Or should I say, Petunia Floors. I thought that humoring you in your little game of detective might satisfy that troublesome sixth sense of yours, but I can't believe you managed to sniff this place out. A shame, really, a shame. Out of all the inconveniences in my way, you were still tolerable to some extent.
He pulls out a needle. There's a murky substance inside.
I do hope you don't take this personally. I was going to let you go, really. Promise. But the circumstances have changed. And, well, I can't have you getting in the way of my love.